Okay. Hello, everybody. Technology was solved, so it's always a mess here. So this is going to be a very hands-on session. Just show you how it works, what is cool, what is nice, what is not nice, what is ugly. So this is just my own overleaf of the projects I have. The first thing I want to ask is, who is already using LaTeX? So, okay, if you don't use LaTeX, this is worthless. But it's worth learning LaTeX. So LaTeX is a kind of word editor, a text editor, but in a very, very sophisticated way. In the beginning, you have a really big startup cost because a lot of things you need to define and a lot of little tricks and tips you need to know. But once you get to know it, it's so much easier and so much more reliable than Word or anything else. So it's worth learning it. There's a kind of, you could say, initial cost or startup cost to learning LaTeX. I had to go through this start cost about, I would say, 6 years ago. Because before that, I used other programs. But then more and more people start to use LaTeX. I start to use LaTeX. Then I said, okay, I will go all the way, not use Word anymore for anything at all, or almost nothing at all, and use LaTeX for all my papers. So if I can do it at my age, you can do it for sure. So it's worth going through it. The second thing, okay, this is an Overleaf. This is about not LaTeX, but Overleaf. Overleaf is an on-the-cloud system. So it means that everybody could be there together. So nothing is local. So the second thing is you have to be online. If you are not online, you're not going to use this Overleaf. But the nice thing is that since it's on the cloud, it has all the advantage of being on the cloud. That means anywhere you are, as long as you get Wi-Fi or can go online, you have all the stuff you're working on. And you also are in direct contact with all the people you're working on that stuff, as long as they're online. And you have always a single document. Because otherwise, I write something and then you cannot do what I'm writing, and then no, it's my time. No, you can actually work together on the document at the same time. I sent you guys a mail this morning. Did you get it? Were you able to open it? Okay. So let's go to the UGent doc. This is not a very. So this is actually from Dries Benoit of our faculty, who already made a kind of template. This is a template. So how does it look like? This is the LaTeX code. It looks impossible, but it's not. It's once you get the hang of it, it's very simple. This is what you will get in TDEF. So the next thing is, in LaTeX, usually the problem is you code LaTeX, and then the problem is, oh, I don't know how it will look like, and it's very hard. But here you always see what you're doing technically and what you get visually, which is really cool. So for example, if you go, now for me it's very small here now, but so I can enlarge it a bit. So if you change something in the text, you can always see what happens in the results by compiling. So let's go here. You guys are also here. So let someone type here the nonsense document class. So change UGent for nonsense. Let's see whoever is first. You're all online. Normally, if you're on the same thing as I, maybe it's not the same thing. Did you change? So did you guys got a link? So you have to go to the title, and then you have the title. Yeah.
Apparently, there's something with 2 links you sent. And
there's 2 links. One link is for a Beamer. One link is for a Beamer, and another one is for document class. Does a document class not work? It didn't work for me. Yes, it is. That project works fine. Okay, okay. I don't know why. That's bizarre. So it doesn't find a joint project? Okay, so no problem. So I will share again. I did this way. You can also share by email. Sometimes the link works only after time. No, it should work. But okay, give me some mail from someone. From one of you guys, right? What's your email?
I registered with my Gmail account.
You can type it in if you want. You can type it. And you see what you can change. So I will resend you guys. So I try to do by a link because otherwise I have to type all your emails in here. The link I practice.
Where is that? Wait.
So there's something work with the edit, non-edit link. But so you have two links. Can view, can edit, and probably something went wrong. Okay.
Tap that at gmail.com.
You need to do this one?
Yeah, at.
Yeah, okay. Like this.
Okay.
There you go. Then you just share, click share.
Yes.
Voila. And now you have to accept it.
We found a mistake. There's links you sent by email to all the participants.
Yes.
The second link is it, I think?
Yeah,
And not this one.
yeah, the first one you send, but the last Y is missing. So if you copy
There's a Y. That's bizarre actually.
Add a Y at the end of that link, you will get.
Oh, wait. Copy. I don't know what. So, but I can do this with my. Okay, I will solve this in a second. Give me 1 second. But you can change something by now, right? Give me 1 second. That's always the nice thing if you do participation. Things go. Okay.
Just everyone add one more Y with the first one.
And links. And
Yeah,
links.
and links.
Okay, so you everybody has to add a Y and it works apparently. It's checked now. So I don't need to resend. Okay, cool. I don't know because I did the copy link. But... So now the nonsense documents, you see? The nonsense documents right there. Somebody won. And you see all the cursors. So someone green is here, a red one, a blue one. Everybody who's so you could get completely sometimes I do alters. It changed something and I change it back and I change it back. It's not very productive, but it's fun. That part is fun. So if I do recompile, what will happen is voila. So this is the basic idea. You have your code file and you have a PDF file. If you want a PDF which is perfect, spick and span, the only thing you need to do is click, and it will download your PDF of any, and then you do click and you open and you have a PDF. So it's very simple, one step from a completed code file to PDF, one click. So this is also something I really like about the system. So sharing is easy. You will also have, if you have a paying version, if you have, so you only need one author in the group of authors who's paying, and it needs to be the kind of owner of the document, the one who invites the others, but that's easy, you can just send a copy and then invite the others. And then everybody can use the review. So if I would switch on review, I can switch on review and I say track changes for everybody on, switch it on, now I have track changes. And now, why doesn't someone change nonsense? But by the way, nonsense is wrongly spelled. That's really nonsense. But why don't you change it back to Ugand? Whoever is first. Many people are trying. That's exactly what I expected. But then you see here, and so that's how you work. You can also switch it out. Of course, you can switch this out that you don't see it. So you just do review out, but it's still keeping the track change and it will show up in green. So in your document, if you have worked on, and the next is your colleague or co-author or promoter, whatever worked on it, you see in green all the things that changed. Very easily can check. And then you say, I want to reject because this you get to get is clearly wrong. So, okay, it's not there yet. So I do the review and I will do reject and also reject Tobias, but I will accept Dylan. Well, so, we're back to the nonsense. Yeah? And if I recompile, it will go back to nonsense. It doesn't. Why doesn't it? I don't know. It's simply too slow. Sometimes there's like a little time lag in this thing. It should recompile at some point back to nonsense. So also I never recompile every, so it's a big kind of pitfall to start recompiling every 2 seconds. You then do your stuff and then every half hour you check. Recompiling all the time, it's a bit idiotic. Okay. What is also very nice about this is if this is too small, the screen, you can change the screen. You can go to layout. You can simply say, oh, I only want editor. Or you can say, well, actually, now I'm reading. I would like just to read what we've done, and we go just to the text. You can read stuff. One of the nice things that was added only very recently is a chat. So the cool thing is, imagine you disagree with one of your authors, so you want to discuss, should we not also mention this literature, or should we not actually stress this argument? You could say here, who is the, oh, something is not working. Who is the guy or lady that wrote nonsense? That wrongly spelled something like this, right? Then you could react to that, and it stays with the document. So next to the document, we have a discussion about your work. That stays. Not a mail here, a chat there. You can keep it up. No, I don't use it that much, but I use it with a few projects. So this is nice to do. What you also have, if you pay, is you have a history. So every single thing you change has a history. So you go back to any version of your document always. So this is my whole history. So you see at 10:46, me, Tobias, Alec, Dylan, someone, Schwarzkopf, Quentin, Mathieu, and you would change something in my text. And I could go back to the version before. And it keeps all, so some documents are like 5 years old. Every little change ever happened in the document, you can return to the state before that. So the risk you often have, yes, but we lost something or they changed something, it's bad, and I don't know how to return it. No, just go to the history version, click, restore it, and you're back. Which is much better than Word or any other of these text editors. They keep some changes, but once you save it, it's gone. You cannot return to old version, then you have to save this version with date numbers. No, here you keep everything. So these are a few really nice, I think, assets of this program. It's on the cloud. Everybody can do that jointly. I mean, with many people, it works. You can keep changes in a review. You can actually accept it just like in Word, but you also have a full history of your document always. Okay, what else wanted I to share with you, which is really nice? one of the few nice things is that if you could actually organize your projects. So that's what I did. If you go to projects, you get all your projects like they are. But here you have tabs. So you can organize tabs. And so this is the people I work with basically. And then just its names. And then, so for example, Nikolaus is one of the person I work with. He's probably here online. He was subscribed. Milan is one of the people I work with, Mukhtar and Nikita. There's all kinds of projects. So let's go to, for example, Nikita. Then you get all the stuff I do with Nikita. Some stuff I do with Nikita is also with Misha. That's someone else. His name is not really Misha, but I call him Misha. And then how would you do that? Imagine you want to change the label. So you click this one, and then you say, oh, well, actually, I would like to add a label. And then I could say, okay, let's add this to, but yeah, should I do it? Well, yeah, let's add this to Ugand. This is like a neutral label. I will then delete it again. So Ugand, okay. And then next time you see it's also Ugand. And at the moment I then say, give me all my Ugand projects. It also gives you this one, which is actually wrong. So it's extremely simple, very straightforward way of organizing work. So that in your big bunch of files, where is it again? And all these folders, it's just click, click, click. And then you have your projects organized all in one system. So you can also very easily take them away. Voilà, Ugand is gone. Oh, I deleted the project. That was not I did. No, actually, it will still be there. It's just the tab I deleted. Because I'm not in the Ugand map, but I deleted the Ugand tab, so the project is still here. There is a history. You see, history is cool. I have used it a lot of times already. History. Give me back my project. So that's very useful. One of the cool things, so let's go to this one, just randomly. Okay, so here we have been chatting, you see. I will just now hide the chat because that's not your business. But so this is where we were chatting about the paper. Okay, let's go to the PDF. Let's change the layout and also see the PDF. And then you see, this is a paper about online media and autocracy. Now, what could you also do, which is really cool, is if you go to the menu, you can make a copy of your project. You can sync it with Dropbox. So if you don't, if you're of the distrusting nature and you see, I never know whether maybe Overleaf will go bankrupt and the history is also on the cloud, let's make a backup. Just click Dropbox and it will sync your whole thing with Dropbox. So it's a very simple way, one button away to have a backup. You click and you have a backup on Dropbox of everything you have. You can also link to Hit and GitHub actually. So you don't need to, Dropbox is a commercial product, GitHub is free, so you can even choose where you put your stuff. You can also change your main documents. This is kind of important because look, let me switch this. Main files. Huh? And now we have this, the main files now submission, but we also put it on the archive. So if you could say, no, I want this document to compile, it will compile something else. It's a slightly different version. The first will be the same, but it's slightly different. So you can have all these stack files and easily switch them. And at the moment you open your file, which file it will actually compile and which one you will see in this window is set in the menu here. So here it's the main document is on submission because you're submitting. And if you change it here, it will automatically, so you don't need always to go to one of the files, click it. You can set a default. And then within this map, within this document, it's going to choose this stack default to compile. We have also, which has been added, I think 2 years ago, a spell checker. So one of the things was, yes, but I don't have no spell checking. but there's an automatic spell checker embedded in Overleaf. So that function of Word you have also in Overleaf, and actually I think it's better than the one of Word. So that's very nice. The auto close brackets, it's on, but often I switch it off because I get irritated if the program tries to be smarter than me and tries to do things I don't intend it to do. And autocomplete the same thing. So there's some kind of interesting features, but I often switch it off. Voilà. So this is on how to use this thing. Now, let's go back to my, sorry for that. Okay, should answer, but I won't. So the next thing you could do is, what I would invite you to have a look at is see how, so we go back to all projects, wait. So if you go to the main menu, you have to click the home, as always. To click the home, you get all your, so you click here, all projects, and then you get all projects again. So regulation on COVID paper, that's a paper of vaccination hesitancy. And so why do I show you? Because one of the other nice things is that in one LaTeX map, which is for me always not a paper, but a project. So I don't only put the paper, but also all the tables we ever made in the paper, the questionnaire, but also the presentations I put under the same map. And every presentation anyone has ever done is listed here, and everybody else can use it. Because otherwise, someone presented there, at some point you forget what presentation was it, what version is it. So you put it all in the same map. So for example, so you can always make these things bigger, that's easy. So here we have presentation. So all the places was presented, this paper, right? And so, okay, let's go to the ULB presentation. This is a Beamer file. Now, of course, and the presentation, but this has changed. I still need to recompile, right? So I recompile to the new version, and there you will see the presentation after it has recompiled. On this computer, that's a bit slower than my computer. But okay, voilà, there you go. And then you get the LaTeX presentation the way it should be, right? So and this you can very easily then download as a PDF, and then you click open in PDF, Ctrl L, right? Pagina weergave, oops. Eén pagina. And then I should make it bigger somehow. What's going on? Okay. So I'm on Edge, and Edge works differently than I'm used to, but okay. Maybe I can just do like a simple simplification and enlarge it, right? Voila. And then you have your presentation. Huh? But you also have the presentation actually with all the clicks normally. Huh? So if you download PDF, you can do click. If you do Ctrl L. Huh? But this is actually the web version of Edge, and I don't know how to do this in Edge. But so you get, and the nice thing is, okay, often, so it's a bit slow, but you can also do these kind of things. Huh? So what often happens is in your paper, or for any paper, you have a number of tables, you have a number of figures, you have summary stats, and they're on the paper, and then you make a presentation. Then you copy the PowerPoint, but it doesn't work. You have to make it smaller, bigger, changes. But here, the table or the figure is also in the map of the project. The table of the figure I make in the paper, I just call it. You do an input command, and you call a table that you have somewhere in your material. You call it into your paper, and you do exactly the same thing in your Beamer. So this not so the LaTeX version or PowerPoint is called Beamer, and this Beamer thing there you can just call with a simple command this figure. So let's look at how this works. Okay, it's all in green because it's been changed, so that's a bit irritating. So let's go to review. I should have this one, so I just accept it, voila. And then it's gone, and then you don't see all the green anymore. I'll switch this off, that it becomes bigger. And then you'll see how the beamer works. Very simple, but then at some point, so you just have a bit of code. So if you want these dots, you want this kind of enumerate, you need to do like itemize, begin itemize, end itemize, begin frame, end frame. So a frame is a slide. You do begin slide, end slide, and then you begin itemize, end itemize. Just not this slide, right? So it's another one. Where's the findings thing? Here, there's this slide. So you see begin frame findings and you put here findings. The way the slide looks is just a template. A template that is called in the beginning. And you have different templates. And actually I send you a UGent template. So you have a UGent template which does it in blue and with blue, like the way you have to do it, or faculty, all that stuff. But since this paper is many people, we have like a neutral template. And then you begin itemize, end itemize, and for every dot you want, you then item, and you can have additional spaces. You can have also numbers. You can change these dots with a different template, so everything is moldable, but in a structured way. But at the moment, we call this, where is this thing? Theory. Actually, I should be smarter than I'm doing now. One way of easily finding where am I in my text is, you see these two things? These two buttons they were also added at some point, extremely useful. Before that was so frustrating because you see a mistake in your text on the slide, but where is it in my file here? But now you can just do this. So you say, I want to look at this, and I will want to see it in my text file, and it will go there. And this is it. So this slide is just this begin frame, regional localities, well, regions hidden and localities, include in the survey, and then include graphics and frame. And then the graphics is just saying how big it is, and just calling this map pictures and then something else. So basically what it does is, here we have a map pictures, and within pictures, we have this thing we call. So all these things are things we once made, more than half of them we don't use anymore because it's outdated or it's a little mistake or people don't like it. But you keep all of that, and then at the moment you need to call a picture in your beamer or in your paper, you just do include graphics or just include figure or input for a table. So you have these commands. And map sample. Okay, let's go to map sample. Here it is. Map sample, voilà, this one. Voilà. That's one we call. So it works in a very, so it looks very complicated, but it's extremely structured. So the nice thing is you never do something twice. You make once a perfect map and then it's there and then you use it everywhere very easily. You make tables and later on you can use the table text, you can use version table in your PowerPoint presentation, or you could use, you put it in annex, you just then make the comments for annex and you call it in the annex. So there's a lot of startup costs, but a massive gain of efficiency later on by having everything organized in one structure. So also, I remember the times you need your presentation. You're a bit late as usual as academics. You're always a bit late. I have to stay to the microphone. I'd like to run around, but I can't. And then it starts. You mail your co-authors, say, do you have the last presentation? No, I think the other guy has it. And then you may look at, no, I think she has it. And it's here. You just make a deal with one another. You make a presentation. You put it with the name of where you present and the date. You put it there. Everybody has it. So it's in a way very collaborative. Also, if you work with a promoter, it's not that, because most of my if you work with a promoter or be with PhD students, the nice thing is also you never have this discussion about if you work like this, you cannot start like this at the beginning. Because in the beginning, there's nothing yet, you have to learn everything. But after a year, after you have a few real projects, just invite your promoter. And then it's never, then you have a meeting, it's never discussion, did you send me the last version in time? Could I read? It's there. He should have read it, or she should have read it. And the other way around, if you do nothing, at some point your promoter will see, well, what's going on in the file? Nothing, actually. so that's maybe a less nice aspect, but I don't use it for controlling, but it's just nice. So it's also the other way around. If you say, yeah, I will read it and change a few things, but nothing changed in the file, the student also knows the promoter just didn't do shit, right? So it's very transparent and open. And in a way, ultimately, I think that works. It's flat, and I think that fits our culture. We have a relatively flat culture. So I like doing it. Not every promoter likes LaTeX. I would say the older they are, the less likely they are to like LaTeX. But that's how things goes, right? The older they are, also the less likely they are to like R. Because we learned eViews, and then we learned MATLAB, and then I learned Stata, and now we have to learn Python. But when I use people start to do R, say, oh, okay, this is the sixth program I have to learn. Goddamn, whatever. so that's natural. That's natural, right? But by and large, at some point, everybody will use this. It's very wide. One of the cool things also is, for an increasing number of journals, you have templates for the submission. So you want to submit to a journal. So let's go back to the paper, right? Here the main is the fear paper. Huh? So let's again. Okay. What's going on? Okay, it's not compiling it. Where's my compile stuff? Sometimes I got lost a bit. Wait. So let's do it simple. Oh, that was a bit too simple. Okay, there it is. So this is this paper. So this is about, oh, it's very small, right? So also the nice thing is you can have this little, also something they added. You can easily magnify your PDF if you want to read better. It's also one click. So it became a lot more user-friendly. Now I do this just to, so you can see, and you can do like this. It's very easy. You also have, okay, you can see the whole PDF if you want. So one of the nice things about working in this way also is the following thing. So you always call in the beginning a document class, and this is a preprint else article. So this is Elsevier. So by using this class, we know when the moment comes, in a relatively simple way, we'll be able to submit it to any Elsevier journal. The only thing they need to do is make a title page. The title page you can do by commenting out the whole paper except the first page, and then deleting that comment out, and you have the whole, and you have the, so you have then a blind paper commenting out the first part, a title page commenting out the last part, and that's it. You make PDFs and then you submit. So you don't then, if you work in Word and then you want to submit, and then say all this structure and the typographics, you have some, even this font size, they start to define now, and then it's all automatic. This is ready for submission. Not every journal has it, but many journals start to have these. So also the big journals often have a template in LaTeX. In economics, especially in sciences, the whole Nature group has, for everything they have this kind of template. Scientific reports plus Nature itself. Nature communications, nature biology, all these guys have templates. So making things very, very, very simple. So at the moment you start, you use the template. If you want to change the template, things will change completely. Okay. Bibliography. How do you decide? Who of you uses BibTeX or something like this? Or who of you is typing all the citations? Okay, what else do you use?
Mendeley.
Mendeley, yes, okay. So Mendeley is combinable with Overleaf. In Mendeley file, for Mendeley, you can call a beep file, which you can then put in here. And that's what you use to cite. So Mendeley is very directly linked to Overleaf. And you can also make the link active so that every once in a while, so if you change something in Mendeley, you have to click something again and it will upload again. So you can very easily integrate Mendeley with Overleaf. Okay, who else is here? What else do you guys use?
Endnotes.
Endnotes. Endnotes gives you a file, which is in a beep format, and you can simply import it. So let me show you how the beep file looks. The beep file looks like this. I'll make this a bit, so I will switch this out that it becomes bigger, and I will kind of magnify a bit. So this is typical beep file stuff, right? This is what you get out of Endnotes. You can just, you have to make a beep file. So here you can make files. So once you have a project, you have to click new file. Then you make a name. You make a name that is something .beep. And then you just copy in your sites here. That's it. And then in the text, go back to the text. Where's my free paper? Huh? You see that at some point, okay, or maybe I give you a live thing. You have to add a site here. Huh? So normally you call something like this: site tab, Coco 1963, Wild, and some Stigler. This is how you cite. So you make a slash site. You have different ways of doing it, but that's a way that's often used. You can also do cite if there's many in one. And then basically this is a code created by the beep file. So if you have Coco 1963 Weld, what it basically does, it refers to something in the beep file. And if you then go to the PDF, switch to PDF, how will it look? It looks like this. Coco 1963. And then at the end here, you will have the references. And here in the references, automatically, it will give you Coco and so on and so on. So basically, it means every reference you type only once. Like in Alu, I'll say it's only once. Huh? So you type this reference only once, and that's it, in your beep file. And then in your text, because if you work in Word, every time again you type references, you type them again, you copy them, you type the same thing 1,000 times. Why? Put it in a beep file and call it, and in your text file. And what some people do is make one beep file for the whole career. There's enough memory, right? So you always put the big, huge beep file in any project, and then any paper you've ever cited is in there. And you do cite and the name, and that's it. And the actual name. So how does it look in the beep file? Let's have a look at the beep file here. So I will do this away. Go to the beep file again. Okay. And then I will do Ctrl F, Coco, and then you see this is how they know the name. You have article Coco, and this is the name that they give to this. This is the title, the author, this and so on and so on, and this is the name, and that's the name you call in the text. But actually, there's an automatic system at the moment in your text you type /site K. It will already provide you with all the sites that start with a K. If you do KO, you already find Fulco right away, and you just click. So you just start that you need to do actually. You make the beep tag, you do site KO, and then say click, and you have the citation. And then if you compile, it will show in the text and then in the reference list, and that's all. So it looks very complex, but once you see the fun of it, it's so easy. It makes your life so easy. All right. A very easy way. Yes, go ahead.
If I add, for instance, like the references to endnotes.
Yeah.
But then each time I have to recompile a new list for people.
Yes, or add them directly to BIP.
How does that work?
Ah, okay. So, okay, that's a good question. So what I often do is, okay, I will give you a live example. Live work on a paper. That's nice for me. I do something on my paper, and you guys see how it works. So, okay, all right. So we have added some stuff that needs to happen. So we need to add here Reuda and Stegmuller 2019. You see this? Okay. How like an easy and dirty way to do this is go to Scholar. Go to Scholar. Okay. Google Scholar. Okay, then we do Reuda Stegmuller 2019. This is it. No, that's not it. But is that Stegmuller anyway? So let's go to Stegmuller. And then go to year. We should find it to 2019. Oh, this guy is active. Okay. Okay, so maybe this. So this radar Stegmuller doesn't exist apparently. So that's also research. Reciting a guy doesn't exist. That's interesting. So something is wrong. Sorry. It's very small for me. So where on the here it is. Yeah. This is the one. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So cool. Okay. Thank you so much. You do this. You go to the actual text.
It's not that one.
It's not that one.
No, I think it's one.
The one above that one.
This one.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Voilà. And then okay, so let's do now like this directly. Okay. I did read. Okay, now I see my mistake. Okay. Make sure. Yeah, this will be 2019 one. No, I lost it again. Ah, maybe it's this one, the book, right?
Yeah.
And then you have this citeren. You see this citeren? Click cite, and then you say, okay, give me a biptech of endnotes, and then you do this. Zip. Control C. We go to Overleaf. If you don't want to do the complicated stuff through Mendeley, let's go to our beep file. Where's the beep file? Here. And just, I do it alphabetically if I can, but actually it doesn't matter. It's just little, so let's try to get rid of my strange deviation to be alphabetic. Just put it in here. Voila, it's in. End of story. And now let's cite it. My colleagues will not like it that I do it like this, but just to be quick and dirty, I go back to the sphere paper. Here I need to cite this thing. Where was it again? Somewhere here, right? I lost my Rita quote where it was. Sorry? Ah, exactly. So. Maybe I deleted it. Sorry,
Three
where?
lines from the bottom.
3 lines from the. Yeah. So it was in here, right? But okay. So I will just do what you need to do. So then you need cite. Okay, I will do this. I could also type it, but I don't know the slash in this computer. So to make it my life easy, I will copy cite, and then you need this bracket thing, cite, and then Reda. Okay, click, voila, end the story. That's it. And then you could now recompile, and you would see it. Yeah? So easy. Switch to PDF. Oh, layout, editor and PDF, and switch this out again. And you would see it's there. So read that. If did I recompile? No, I need to recompile obviously. And then now somewhere in the middle is going to be this one citation, right? Where is it? Well, I don't find it right now. Did I do it correctly? Yes, I think I did. So let's go. Did I put it in here? Control F, reader. Reader. There it is. And actually, it will also already be in the reference lists. So my authors will hate me for putting the reference somewhere in the middle of nowhere, but okay. And they will see it's me who done it. So it's accountability all over. I will come to the question in a second, but let's check whether it's also in here. Yes, exactly. But yeah, it's late for that now. I passed that possibility.
Yeah, just above in the search.
Voila, here it is. So I never check this because I know it works, right? It's just losing time now going back and forth. So you don't even need EndNote. If you have new citation, Google Scholar, click, Control-C, paste, that's it. Takes you literally, if you're into it, it takes you 1 minute. And then you have a citation file. It's so easy. So, and you don't need to type, you know, you type a citation, you make 50 mistakes, typing errors, the title's not completely correct, the formatting is not correct. Now the formatting is taken care by the beep text style. So in any of these, in the code file, at some point, you will have the beep text file. Actually, it's before the tables, right? So yeah. But let's do this. Let's just look for beep, and then I will find it. Show you how it works. Voila, this is it. So this is bibliography style Chicago. And that gives you something like this. And that's it. So how do you make a bibliography? You take this and it will automatically generate the whole bibliography and it will change it all the time. So that makes it, instead of typing every time and making all kinds of mistakes, it's much easier. But would there be a bibliography style nature? I don't know. Let's try. Recompile. Maybe it's shout at the mistake. I don't know whether nature exists actually, to be honest. That's a style name. Oh, okay. Oh, right. So that didn't work very well. I'm getting.
It's shorter.
It should be a lot shorter, yeah. All right. It's gone. Okay. So that didn't work. So nature doesn't exist. Okay. So that's the problem. So let me give you another example. Okay. Right. Beep styles LaTeX. Things are so easy. You just click, and then it will give you beep styles. So these are all the beep styles in that you could use. And then you have a whole document explaining. Okay, so this is a style. This is a style. This is a style alpha. So you could do alpha. You could do APA-like. There's all kinds of styles. And Chicago is just one of them. right? So this is a typical scientific style, actually. Just having numbers. In your text, you just have a number, much shorter, and then at the end you have the number and the name. And they use the same number different times. So the ordering is like, the first time you call it, that's the number, but then you could call one at the end again, that's no problem. That's the scientific style. And just, if you want to change the whole bibliography, it means at the style, you change 5 letters. And automatically, you get the new thing. So that's really much preferable to Word when you have to actually retype everything if you do that, yes.
So in your text, there was like \site
Yeah.
and site P. Is
Yeah.
there a difference?
Yes, the different ways of citing, sometimes you have name between brackets the year, says something, something, something. Other way of citing is, often people say that blah, 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 between brackets, a name and the year, a name and the year. You see the difference? One is name, year, the next one is name, year, and year, and then you have different, if one is a row, these are different site styles. And if you just go to the LaTeX, there's more than these two. If you go to the LaTeX, so if you do here site styles, like site, you will find citations. And then references and citations. And then you can go to this, and then you'll find a manual on how to do this. You should actually. Here it is. So here's the whole deep text thing. How you should work with it in a lot of detail. So everything is actually what I'm explaining. What I do myself, I'm also still learning it. I just read this stuff all the time. So everything is here that you want to do. So basics. Also, okay, we didn't talk yet about mathematics, but this is more about LaTeX than about the other thing. What I should not forget is I should not forget my mission here. Is I also send you a link to the dissertation, to the Beamer style. I'm also making a dissertation kind of template for people that make a dissertation with chapters that are actually papers to make it very easy. And once that's finished, I will also publish that and you can use it freely if you want. It's not finished, I'm working on it. But the Beamer looks like this. That's a template. It's did that link work? Also not work. That one worked. So basically then you get this, right? I can just fill it out. And you have all kinds of different slides. You have the basic slides, the title slides, like the overview. By the way, I never give overviews if I present, because I think that's, people have an overview and then in the middle of the presentation they give 5 other overviews, but often you have in an academic presentation 10 to 15 minutes. Don't lose 5 minutes giving overviews what you're going to say, just goddamn say it. It's 15 minutes. If people can't concentrate for 15 minutes, well, then they shouldn't be there. It's an academic conference. It's something else if you have a long presentation of an hour. So make sure it's structured. But if it's only 15 minutes, don't spend your time on explaining the structure. It's only 15 minutes. People will see the structure. And usually the structure is also shown on the bottom, on the top. That's one of these things you can do. So, and so in what Dries did, Dries is the maker of this template, is he shows you examples of mathematics and how to do regular text. He shows you to do differences in caps. He talks about list and enumerations, how to do this. So you will find the code, right? That's very nice. He talks about items. So this is numbered lists. He talks about changing colors. I use colors a lot. So in my tables, if I have LaTeX tables, what I often do is the results I want people to focus on, I put in a very bright color and dark, because you have a result slide, numbers. And then it says, blah. So just the thing you want to talk about, bring it out. Give it the color in your LaTeX. That's just a little code in the table that you already have. So I use colors a lot. He also if you do like this alert, that's like an alert is something like this, the structure, dark white, dark blue, light blue. This is like for theoretical, theorem and proof, and they have some mathematics here. And so then he kind of works it out, how this works. Can also number your frames. So frames are numbered. And this is something that is useful. So I don't use this frame very often because often I work with colleagues. But if you have a presentation purely with UGent colleagues or inside UGents, people kind of expect you to use the UGent template. I think probably it needs to change at some point, but at the point, that's what we have to work with. So easy to use in a way. So I would advise you to use it. All right. So let's go back to the projects and to this one, to the last project. Okay. What I typically do also, if I work, if I make a map pictures and put all the pictures there. The pictures could be a screenshot even. So if you have a nice figure and you don't know how to combine the figure with how to do it in LaTeX or to do it nicely, just do it in another program, make a good screenshot, put it here, and then call it. That's fine. Also make a map with tables. So this is my. I hear the tables are actually not separate, but we have a map with the questionnaire. So if you use surveys, put the questionnaire there, because often in the end people will ask it in annex, or maybe at some point you have to call part of it as a table. Put the questionnaire there, and then you also have it afterwards. You never need to ask what's the exact question again. It's all there. These are the tables actually. Yeah, so tabs is tables in this case, but they often use tables, sometimes tabs. And then if you click one of these, you will just get a table. Why not? It's not recompiling properly. That's interesting. I don't know why it's not compiling. I don't know. I know why it's not compiling. Of course, yeah. So yeah, okay. So yes, so so there's two ways of doing this. In LaTeX, you can only compile a document if you add hidden end documents. And sometimes I make my tables that are separate documents. But in this paper, we just don't use them separately. We just call them within a larger document. So if you have a beamer, which has a beginning and end, or if you have a LaTeX document with beginning and end, then you need in your table file, you don't even need to begin and end the document. It's already happened. You just begin and end the table, but then you cannot compile it all by itself. So that's a very structured way of working. So at some point, if something is wrong with the table, you go to that file only, and that file only you see what is going on, and see what the problem is, and then you can address it. That's very simple, and much more structured. Otherwise, all things fall apart. All right. Also, and here we have a submit file. That's not so useful for us, but it could become. Okay. Let's take another one. So sometimes it's not ready for submission yet, so that's not a surprise actually. Let's go to Misha again. That one worked, I suppose. Misha. Let's go to this one. And then say submit. So, oh, what's going on? That didn't, in my computer it works actually. That's interesting. I don't know why. Yeah, but it's fine because that's what you want actually. So, oh wait, because this is what you actually submitted to the archive. So that's maybe this one. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know what's wrong. I tested it before I gave this lecture this morning. But so if you if things work properly, can you click submit? You get a number of possibilities to submit. But there's not a lot of economics there. So we have archive, you have a lot of these dive archives. You have also the nature group. So you have also a way of submitting from within Overleaf, but that is not very developed yet, and certainly not for economics. So I only use it if I submit something to non-economic journals. But to economic journals, I actually don't use it yet. But that may change, they may improve it. But as you see, yeah, it doesn't work now, so it's not very stable, that part of the whole system. Okay, so then if you start using this LaTeX stuff, what you also need to understand is if you want to use a command, you will need to use packages. So it's all code based, and these packages is just code. And if you want to use, for example, a certain bibliography file, then you have to here use package NatBib. And NatBib is the package that allows you to call biography commands. So what I advise to most people is get some functioning file from someone. And then you have all the packages you need and start from there for something that works. And then gradually develop it from there. That's the simplest way to work. Because if you start from zero, the startup cost is very high. So in that sense, it's not like work. But if you start from something that works, and then you start measuring things, you start to understand how it works, why it works, what the tricks are, and you avoid many of the high startup costs. But so, for example, also for tables, you can have tables long, you can have tables like this, you can have tables on many pages, but for that you need certain packages. So there's like a command long table for table in different pages. That's a special package. So these little tricks you have to learn, but we have in the department a few guys who are really excellent at it. At our floor, Milan and Johannes are extremely good at it, but I'm sure Mathieu is pretty good at it already, and some other people. So ask each other, and I'm sure other people who are good at it, I don't know, right? So, but ask one another how to work with LaTeX. In a way, it would not be better to have like a learning network or learning group to teach one another, because you could lose so much time in detail that if you ask them, you say, oh, this 1 second, that's solved. So don't lose your time on details. After like swearing for 20 minutes, ask someone. They will just tell you usually. And that's how you learn much faster. And that's how I learned. I didn't learn from scratch. I learned from getting fast models and then using them, and then if I have to do it myself, or put myself swearing, and then working it out one by one. So the trick with Scholar, I found myself, because Mendeley, yes, but then it's big thing and not deep, and I said, is it not something really simple? And Scholar is the simplest one actually. Look on Scholar, click, you put it in a B file, that's it. So it's a bit old-fashioned and manual, but it's so fast, and it's always once only you need to do it. So you will find tricks yourself very easily. How much time do I have actually? I don't know. I have no clue. How much?
It's 11:30.
Is it still 11:30?
Until 12.
Tell me. Okay, perfect. So are there any questions? Yes.
Does this submit feature here provide anything more than a PDF file?
No.
So
No, actually, it provides a PDF file, and then a click to go to the submission kind of how you call this, the submission window. But you still need to fill all the stuff, because who of you already submitted? So submission is a nightmare. It will take you half a day, Because you think, oh, it's easy to have a paper, and then you have to fill out all these things. And then you need to pay money, and then you need to, what about this? Would you suggest a referee? And then the Journal of Literature classification, then you have, something about ethical stuff, and do I need an internal review board? And they ask so many questions, and it's getting worse and worse actually. And then you ask your abstract, and still you need to fill out abstract in a window. You need to write a letter to the editor, and so it costs you a day. So this is, I think we make submission far too hard, to be honest. But it will cost you, if it's the first time, a day. If you're used to it, it's half a day. It's painful. And then often what happens is at the end, something is wrong, it blocks, and then you lose everything. Okay, I will switch it back. All right, so for submissions, it helps you a little bit to organize your file, but it doesn't help you for the submission itself. That's like a kind of flagellation process you have to go through, apparently, yourself. So submission is not going to change much. Okay, yes.
So with the map of Russia,
Yeah.
One paper,
Yeah.
you just import the picture.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you can use visuals in LaTeX itself?
Yes, you can make visuals in LaTeX itself. It is complicated, but it's possible. LaTeX, you can do anything. So LaTeX is a code-based typography thing, and you can be extremely precise with everything. But and I've used it in some cases, but that has a very high startup cost. I could show you a few examples where we use it, little figures, and little like not like a figure, but also like something like a design, where you have an arrow going to a concept, going to another arrow, going to concept. All this stuff you can do, but then you really have to do things like you have this arrow and it has to go from this XY to this XY. That's how you have to do it. So some people like that stuff, and then you can make the perfect figure. Other people just say, I will do it, and whatever program, maybe just PowerPoint, and make a screenshot. It's the same thing. But you can do it, and it looks spick and span if you do it. It looks very well. So these maps often make with shapefiles. So in R or in Stata, you can have shapefiles where you can put data on a map. That's also, the shape is also not so very old. And the ARC files, it's become popular the last 10 years only. It becomes relatively easy to make maps. But then essentially what you do is you make a PDF, you import the PDF in LaTeX and you call it. And then within LaTeX, you can shrink it or make it bigger by relatively simple commands. So you can adjust it to the size of you can adjust the figure to the size of your page in a very easy way. And that does very well. So you don't have that thing get in PowerPoint that your figures are watering down or diluted, or this is done very well. So actually in this one, we use a few figures, right? But so this kind of stuff, that's doable, right? That's doable. But so for this one, we actually went to Stata. This is a Stata figure, actually. In Stata, you can do much more with colors than people think. If you program a little bit, there's a lot of flexibility, but it's also hard, but you can do it. So, okay, something I completely forgot to say. If you work in R or Stata, probably also not, but I don't know, you can and I have some codes in that automatically generates the text file. So making a table is complicated, right? So let's go to the table. I'll show you what I mean. So this is the table file in this file. So here it's not tabs but table, but I always use tabs or table. And then this is actually a table of questions that have like a mathematical table. It looks like this, huh? So it looks kind of, you say, what? How am I supposed to do that? Once you get the structure, it's I can almost read this because I'm so used to it. So these things are then the next line. These are the columns, and then you see it already. So it's at the matrix basically, right? And then you see, oh, you see the world. But you don't need to do this because everything in here within the tabular will be created automatically by your program. So you can, in Stata, you can just have one simple comment to export your result to a text file. And you just put it in here, and that's it. The same with R. There's already code files going around where automatically your result in R is transmitted into text file. And then you just Control-C, plop, that's it. Some people even automate that. I have one colleague who's a freak of automation, Alexei Karas, a former student actually in the Netherlands. And so what we're doing, if we collaborate, he's just showing a text file. And then he's doing something in Stata, and the result happens in Stata. And he says, just wait 1 second, recompile, and poof, the table changes. So he automated the link from going to Stata, exporting the file, automatically importing it in Overleaf. That's also something you can do. I don't know how to do that, but something like that. And then it goes all automatic. And you, let's fix the facts. Control FE, and then in the Overleaf you see the table change. So a lot of manual stuff we do, have a result, put it to Excel, get Excel into Word, edit it, see it keeps changing all the time, it's a mess. But once you get it right with the right structure of table, it becomes very simple. So you have again this little startup cost to understand how the structure of a table works. But then you can optimize it. And once you have a good table for this structure, a good table for a long structure, and a good table code file for like 2 tables, then you just use it again and again and again and again for any state or output. And then your life becomes so beautiful and easy. So it's also actually, so what I have used in the beginning and sometimes still use in Excel as an Excel to LaTeX type. So you say, I want to work to Excel. Okay, export your stuff to Excel. You have an Excel table, and then you click Excel to LaTeX. It's like an add-on. And then you get within Excel, you do select Control-C, plop in here, and it works. Sometimes a little glitch, and you have to adapt a little thing, but it works. By the way, there's also a Word to LaTeX converter. That doesn't work very well, but good enough. So for a simple Word document, you can actually just click Word to LaTeX, and you'll get a LaTeX file. You can just import and Overleaf. So if you start from Word only, and you want to learn very fast to do all the traditional editing things, you just let the machine do it for you and see what they actually propose as codes and start from there. You also have the opposite. That doesn't work so well, that works relatively well. You have a LaTeX to Words editor. So if you have a LaTeX document, you can change it to Word, not completely, because LaTeX can do many things Word can't do. In LaTeX you can do literally everything. So what you're asking, all these figures with like very precise inclinations of the arrows and stuff like that, you can do that in Word, obviously. But anything that's normal text and table, you can just do LaTeX to Word and you get a Word file. So if you have a co-author who doesn't want to work in LaTeX, says, I don't like all this nonsense, very likely if they're older, then you can just do LaTeX to Word and you get a Word file. So I have one colleague who works like this, and then with LaTeX to Word, he then prints the Word file, writes on the paper, sends it back, and we print it back. You have to type it back in LaTeX. It's a bit uncomfortable, but okay. That's the pain of collaboration, right? That happens sometimes. So also there, so the nice thing is this has grown very fast, and a lot of the things I've been talking about, the chat, the history, the review where you can change text, the automation of generation of tables within Stata and R have so much improved the last 3 years that it's very, very, I would say, functional, very easy to use, and a lot of fun in that sense. The thing I like most personally is the history. twice already it saved my ass big time. You do something, you say, oh no, how can I recover? History. Very nice. So that's cool. So sometimes you do something, you say it's fine, and then the next day, once you say, oh my God, what did I do? History. In Word, it's over. Once you saved, it overwrites the old file. It's over. It doesn't keep histories unless you saved separate versions. Here we have the whole history. Yes.
Are there any features for like changing precision of numbers or something, for instance, rounding them into 2 digits or something?
Yes, but you do this usually. So I use data mostly, not only, and in data at the moment you get the result and export, and you can specify how many digits you export.
Yeah, but
The
if you
precise
don't
rounding.
have access to this data and you have some results, you have a file over here,
Yeah.
you want to post, like, edit numbers, and you wanna,
So in LaTeX you have to do it manually, but usually the places from where you import have editing. So Excel, I've used Excel in the past. In Excel you can round your numbers automatically. You can click so many decimals. So I would do that in Excel and then import from Excel.
and so this environment just considers everything as text.
Yes.
So you can't do
Yes.
anything.
Yes.
And is there any offline, like?
Yes, you can do offline. I don't advise it though. Working offline Overleaf. See? Voilà. But for me, the problem is if you do that, the fundamental benefit of Overleaf disappears. Because then you've got 2 versions. You have one version on the cloud and somebody may change it while you are working locally. And then how are you going to reintegrate it? And that's complicated. That's complicated. So sometimes, okay, if it's about, I'm writing a few paragraphs, I'm going to later inject them in the text, that's fine. I'm going to work on this one section, and nobody else is going to work on that section. And then you just change the section. That you can do locally. But if you're going to work throughout the whole documents, then you create 2 versions. And then that's the whole problem of working with Word, actually. It's also the problem of Dropbox. Dropbox is great, but Dropbox is on the cloud, but yet it isn't. Because Dropbox has no facility to jointly work on documents. So Dropbox is nice. I use it to store things, of which I have far too many probably, but I don't use it to work on things, because then you have the same problem. It's not on the cloud, so you have different versions of the same documents, and eventually it will come back to haunt you. Yes. Google Drive, I also use it. I use it for Google Docs sometimes. So I use it less and less, to be honest. But in the past, for example, if you write an FPO project, or like a postdoc or something, or you write just a report that is relatively simple, and it's meant people, Google Docs also, because it has the same feature, you can work at the same time. It's really on the cloud, as opposed to products. It's really on the cloud. But the problem is, it doesn't have all these features related to it. So it's much more complicated in Google Docs. If you have complicated figures, complicated tables, then things become a bit squeaky, actually, and unreliable. So it's very good for text and simple tables and graphics. Once things get a bit sophisticated, for example, think about beep text and stuff like that, then things get a bit squeaky with Google Docs. So for simple text, sure. For real scientific documents, I wouldn't do it. I've done it in the past though. So I see also that even for postdoc applications and FAO, people start to move a bit to Overleaf. Because the templates that you have for that, it has been also programmed in Overleaf, so it's easy to use also in Overleaf. But for these things, Google Docs is okay, I would say. Yeah. But again, it's a good question because it's much better than Word. Because in Word, you still need to kind of go back and forth. Now you have you have in Word now this OneDrive thing, not Google Drive, but OneDrive, and there you also have kind of comparable structure. So you see that everybody is following this on the cloud evolution, right? Google Docs is not very old. OneDrive is still younger still. This is I think older than both of these. But again, for both Google and OneDrive, these are text editors. They're not really intended to do, okay, which I didn't say is, LaTeX is the very best program for mathematics. If you want to write formula and contain mathematics or specifications, it's wonderful. That's exactly what you want. It's very neat, cool mathematics. So for us as economists, sometimes that matters. If you have a proof or some theoretical part, or you have an econometric part where you have like sigma standard errors and IID, and I have to do specification. For that stuff, it's really good. And for that stuff, Word, OneDrive, Google Docs is a lot less reliable and has a lot less possibilities. That simple things would still work, but actually complex things don't work at all. So if you want to do something really complicated with lots of formulas, this works very well, actually. So that's why it was actually invented. So look at, let's look at this one. So, and let's do a bit larger. So this part here, making these formulas, that's so easy, and in LaTeX, it would make you cry. Also getting these things with all these strange symbols and all that, it really works. It also looks much better than in Word and in OneDrive. It just looks, it's designed for this. So it's a mathematical text editor. That's why it derives, it's very old. When I was a student, somebody was already teaching LaTeX at the faculty, but nobody picked it up. So, and that was a guy from the mathematics department. So LaTeX is actually a very old language. But it was extremely user unfriendly. It basically, it prided itself in being extremely difficult. It was a kind of nerdy thing to do. And so that's why nobody used it, actually, although it was good. But now what this thing is apart from being on the cloud, it's also a shell around LaTeX. So it's still core LaTeX, but you see immediately the compiled version, and you have all these, all these structure you can add to that. Here, you also have the thing I showed you, the whole manual of Overleaf online, explaining everything. It's a massive thing. Everything. Molecular orbital, so you were asking about figures. Look here, molecular orbital diagrams. So extremely difficult figures. You can make this in LaTeX if you want. So that with special packages. Maybe you have some examples. And then you see. So this kind of things with atoms, you can make anything you want in LaTeX. You can also do posters. It's also something that is starting to. Usually, it's called a Pixie poster. So I give you a beamer, I give you a standard document. You can also do posters, which is in Conference more and more something we require from people. And then doing that in Word is a bit painful, I would say. But in LaTeX, they have a fixed format for posters also. It makes it very easy to do your poster. So it's basically, it's become much more user friendly. Also because you can export your text files from your econometrics, you can export it from Excel. So the nerdiness, but having to know all these little code files and all the complicated nerdiness has gone away completely. And now it's much more user friendly, although still a bit painful sometimes, but less painful than it was, for sure. Something I also didn't say yet, let's go back. One advantage, definitely, is, I will go to all projects, is the fact that it introduces structure. So I think in this one we have this actually, right? So you go to the Vierdag, you go to file outline. This one we didn't do it here. Okay. But so what you can do in your document is actually put structure in it. Okay, where do we have this thing? I think Misha had structured it right. I just want to give you a good example of what I mean. Okay, also the same thing doesn't show it. Okay. Why isn't it working? Okay. But so I don't do it in every paper, I do it more and more, but in your file, you can indicate structure. And then the nice thing is that you have a little tab where you see like in Word, structure for documents, and you can very quickly go to sections. And that's also in your code file, just when you create a section, you need to just do one thing. And then it creates a structure automatically. So that's a very useful thing too. But I'm still starting to use on myself, this structure. Okay. So it's a learning process for me too, definitely. But I use it massively. All right. Any other questions from any one of you guys? Are you happy? I will be happy if you use it. So use it. Okay. See you guys. I'm gonna team shake it.